Hey y'all, it is Andrea here at VW Family Farm, and I'm about ready to leave the house. I've got somewhere to go this afternoon, but before I do, I want to talk to you about something that I get asked quite a lot. A lot of you are thinking about, or you have relocated to different areas of the country, and there is a lot of interest when you're relocating on what are the natural disasters I need to worry about there. And if you're thinking about relocating to anywhere in the South, or a lot of times the East, just a lot of areas of the country, one of the most asked questions, and we get emails about this quite regularly, are how big of a deal are tornadoes? Hey, Turnip. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. So, as far as how big of a deal are tornadoes, if you were moving right here where we live, they are a concern. They are something that we deal with every spring. Our severe weather season is March, April, and May, but we can have severe weather even in the fall. And so they are something to be aware of. A lot of people around us have storm shelters, so that's something to consider. Maybe investing in one of those if you're not gonna have some type of basement. Are you following me? Huh? Are you following me? But as far as how much of a concern are they for you individually, how many times have we had our property destroyed? Well, I can just tell you from my own experience, never in my life has my house been destroyed or has Ben's house been destroyed by a tornado, but we have definitely had damage. We've had damage even when we were in the hospital having Lane. We had a barn blow down. We have experienced the effects. We've had people's with their house wiped out as little as like 4 miles down the road. So it does happen. The odds of it happening directly to you, I don't know, but I would assume it's not super great. None of my family has ever lost their entire home and all their possessions to it. But like I said, there's times we have roof damage and things like that. So it definitely is a concern. But just because a tornado might not completely wipe out our house, or we're not afraid that, you know, we might lose our lives at any moment, every time we have severe weather, which is we're expecting some tonight, there's steps we take to prepare. And that's what I want to show you today. You still need to be prepared because you could cost yourself a lot of grief, a loss of property, loss of animals, things like that if you don't. So you can see I'm standing at the cluck wagon. I've got pigs and chickens all around me. But we strap this down on both sides. I just showed it to you, but we do that on both sides. That is literally just a ratchet strap. Let me see if you can see it. It's just a ratchet strap hooked to the cluck wagon, and then there is a piece of rebar stuck in the ground, and then Ben has welded a little piece on there. I'll show you a close-up of that. Just something for us to be able to hook this ratchet strap to. You could rig this up any number of ways, but we have a strap on each side. You can see this is the second strap because we didn't used to have it around pigs. Now we do, and they like to rub on it and then it snapped. So we'll have to figure something else about that out later, but they haven't figured it out yet. There's Pumpkin. There's Miss Pumpkin. But we're expecting the severe weather here in a few hours, so the odds of them figuring it out and breaking them again today are pretty low. So I'm hoping we can at least last that amount of time, and then we may even take those off until the next round, so maybe they won't break them. Next thing, and just keeping with the theme of the pigs since we were out there, is making sure they have shelter. So you can see right out there through this fence, you can see it, there's shelter, there's pigs out there as well. That gives them somewhere to go in case of rain or heavy rain or flooding. You saw out in the other pasture the baby pigs, Pumpkin's babies that we just went and bought a couple days ago. They need some protection. We are expecting several inches of rain. Even if we get no tornadoes, several inches of rain at one time can be a big problem. Another thing to consider is if you have baby pigs like we do, or baby anything, is when these severe weather episodes come through, that people that don't live in tornado areas, in tornado alley, I guess you would call it, a lot of times when those come through, it's hot and muggy. And then in a matter of literally a few minutes, when the severe weather and the front gets here, a front is usually what causes it, you could drop dramatically in temperature. So if you have baby animals that haven't been through a cold spell yet, maybe they were just born in the last little while, and it's this nice weather that comes, even though it's February here, it's, let's see, it's 62 degrees right now. That could change in a matter of minutes. So you need to be prepared not only with the shelter to keep them out of the rain, because wet, cold babies, that's a bad combination. So not only with the shelter, but maybe with some heat. It just depends on what type of animals you have, how old they are, can they maintain their body temperature yet, and those things. And in keeping in line with our cluck wagon being strapped down, we've got this big schooner. That thing could literally take flight if the right gust of wind hit it. It would just pick it up and tumble it across the field. So we've got that strapped down, really, really good. In fact, it's kind of hard to get unanchored, but that's okay. That means it's holding pretty good. So there's one more thing I want to share with you guys. So let's go back to a herd of cows that we have, and I want to tell you another very important thing that we do to prepare for severe weather. So another thing we do that may seem like, okay, that doesn't really make sense to me, but we feed extra. You can see these cows have been given hay recently, in the last hour actually. Lane went around and put out hay this morning for animals that needed hay, as well as everything that was gonna need hay tomorrow. And you may be thinking, well, what does that have to do with it? Well, number one, we don't want these going into this, what's gonna be probably a stressful night, already stressed because they've ran out of hay and they're hungry. And next, and just as importantly, is you've got to think about what's tomorrow going to be like. I just told you we could get a whole lot of rain in a short amount of time. So if you know those animals are going to need it tomorrow, we go ahead and put it out today in preparation, because tomorrow could be a big, muddy mess. It takes a while sometimes when you get those heavy rainfalls for it all to soak in and to get to where you can drive out there again. So why put it off when you know you're going to be in a much worse weather situation? Even if it doesn't rain a lot, it's going to be a lot colder tomorrow. So just don't, that's one thing we have tried to teach Lane, and he does a pretty good job of it, is don't be a procrastinator. Get out there and do it, and then you will be glad tomorrow that you did. So feed extra for them, but also for yourself in preparation. So I want to share one more tip that this is pretty important with you guys about what we do in preparation for severe weather and tornadoes specifically. We take that very seriously here, and there's just a lot of things that can happen. I'm not trying to minimize tornadoes, because tornadoes in our area have literally devastated people's lives. They have taken family members, sometimes children, sometimes mothers and fathers. People have died in tornadoes a lot here in Arkansas, and it is the natural disaster that we deal with. There's different ones all over the country. Some people deal with flooding and fires and earthquakes and hurricanes and all kinds of things. It is our thing that we deal with, so I don't want to minimize it, but I am just saying you can't just prepare for tornadoes and think, well, the chances are fairly low it's going to hit me, because the chances of the other things hitting you are pretty high. In fact, we've been affected by those multiple times. We've had to replace all the roofs on every building we have because softball size hail hit on a Sunday afternoon when our kids were very small and beat up every toy they had outside, beat up vehicles, broke things. It was a mess. So we've dealt with that. We've dealt with barns being blown down. We've dealt with things being flipped around all over our yard and everything else. So this last thing is pretty important to us. This is something we try to do every single time. And that is, we try to get things that are important to us, equipment, vehicles and things like that under a roof, whether that be in our garage, or you can say I'm out here at the hay barn or equipment shed or whatever you want to call it. That is very important because hail is a very real possibility here. It can break your windshield, it can put dents all over your vehicle, it can cause you a lot of problems. So that is something we try to do. You can see we've got our tractor, we've got our farm truck that we use all the time to haul animals, things like that in the barn. Now we have 2 teenage drivers, so I'm gonna be real with you guys for a minute. We can't fit every single thing under a barn anymore because we have too many vehicles. Lane and Emily's vehicles are not very expensive vehicles. They're great for them, and I am not minimizing how blessed we are that they have a vehicle, but they are not worth near as much as the truck that we haul animals with, that we just paid a lot more money for it. So we're to the point now we have to prioritize what's getting put up and what's not. But there was a time we put up every single vehicle and piece of equipment. We have a tractor in the shop right now, so you can see the farm truck, it's gonna have to stay out. We're gonna have to take a chance. Hopefully it'll be all right, but we definitely don't want our newer, nicer truck to get damaged. So I'd encourage you to have some sort of a barn, shop, something, even if it's just a carport roof that you can pull your vehicle under if that is a concern for where you live, or if you're concerned about your vehicle. And sometimes it's just life that we don't have those things, and we just have to hope and pray for the best, right? There's been times we didn't have anything. We didn't have a garage. We didn't have anything. We had a small house, but we just deal with what we have, right? So that is one thing to think about, is what are you gonna do with your vehicles? I hope this helps you. I hope this takes some of the fear out of living in tornado areas. It's probably gonna be fine, but we are prepared. We have kind of a checklist of things we do every single time, and I would encourage you to do that. No matter where you live, no matter what the natural disaster is you have to think about, just be prepared. It's always better and less scary to be prepared than to go into it blindly and then have all these things pop up that you weren't expecting. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching, and God bless.